I believe that creativity is more like a talent kind of thing for musicians, even inventors as well, because we are all dreamers, as humans.
Technology is transforming how we think, how we lead, and how we win. From Intervision, this is Status Go, the show helping IT leaders move beyond the status quo, master their craft, and propel their IT vision.
Frequent listeners of Status Go will remember our Race in Tech series we launched last year. It was part of our commitment to amplifying the voices and the stories of our colleagues who have been underrepresented in tech. We are continuing that commitment by bringing you incredible stories of courage, determination, and perseverance. In this episode, I'm sitting down with Danny Manu. Danny is a serial entrepreneur from Manchester, England. He is the inventor of CLIK, earbuds that translate conversations in 37 different languages in real time. However, his story goes well beyond his passion for technology. As a child, he spent time between Ghana and London. He lost his mother at the age of 7 and became a music producer at 17. Before I get carried away and share too much of his story, I'd like to introduce Danny Manu. Welcome to Status Go, Danny.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for having me on the show.
I am so looking forward to this conversation. Your story and your background are just incredible. Why don't we start with a little bit about your background, the company that you have today, what you do, what that company does, and then we'll get into your backstory.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So CEH Technologies is innovative manufacturer of consumer audio electronics. Just to sum it up, we produce innovative products to support people's lives. And what we want to maintain the business in the audio field. So anything audio, software, application, you could see CEH Technologies being that company representing that. But our main focus is to always come up with technologies that improves people's lives. So that's the only thing we want to focus on. And Manu is the brand. So the parent company, CEH Technologies, as the main company. Manu is the brand that is widely known because of clicks, as you already mentioned.
And you've gotten worldwide recognition for that brand, right? I mean, it's gone well beyond the UK.
Absolutely. I mean, we've done really well. It wasn't, I've gone through a lot of challenges to get to, where we are. And, we've met lovely people, nice people that have supported us along, the journey. And in the process of doing that, it's giving us, a very worldwide recognition for what we do and what we stand for. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into your story just a little bit. What was it like spending time in both London and Ghana as a young child?
I mean, it was a difficult one, especially when you are growing up. You go to school, you go to college. You have to also get a side project. Oh, when I say side project, I mean work to generate some revenue. It was a tough one, honestly, Jeff. Trying to make all that part of, what I'm trying to say is, we've got dreams that we want to really achieve. And, my dream and passion was in the music and also to create innovative products. But it was difficult to do, especially, if you are in the situation I was, as a young child, trying to do everything, raise funds on my own, work, save money to be able to build the dream that I really wanted. So it wasn't a straightforward one. It was a tough one.
So you mentioned two of your passions. You mentioned music, and you also mentioned creating technology. When did you know that you wanted to bring those two things forward in your world?
Yeah, thank. That's an interesting question. I would say beginning of my career. So when I first set up my recording studio, I mean, I was in college in London, and I decided to set up the studio. The reason being was I play all instruments, so I was lucky. So I can play guitar, bass, drums, whatever I can do it all. but I had the passion of creativity in terms of coming up with my
Hmm.
own music. So when I started producing record for musicians, I I sort of realized the creative side of me to implement
Hmm.
the music side to my engineering background. That's something I was doing in college. So I was, in college, my profession was pure engineering, and I was doing aerospace engineering. So learning sound engineering on top of that, I was able to combine the passion I have in music and the engineering
Hmm.
skills I've acquired in aerospace and music to come up with unique products. And I would say it's pretty much the same process as making music or recording music, because if you look at musicians or musical artists, you have to come from creativity, right? They write songs, they
Hmm.
compose it.
Yeah, yeah.
And my one, because I have the passion for both, engineering and music, I came up with a hardware, an innovative product. Yeah, because I can't sing, so
You can't sing, but you can play a lot of instruments.
exactly,
I always find it fascinating. You're right. The creation process, the creativity involved in technology, and the creativity involved in the arts, it uses similar parts of our brains. I'm always surprised, and I guess I shouldn't be after all this time, of the number of people that are in technology that also have some arts background, whether it's music, painting, writing. That creativity feeds both sides of us, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And it's something I don't think it can be taught. As far as creativity goes, I don't know. I've seen a lot of engineers, I've met a lot of people that know how to use a specific tool, but
Hmm.
they're not able to be creative enough. But they know in
Yeah,
and out of a specific tool. So I believe that creativity is more like a talent kind of thing, for musicians, even inventors as well, because we are all dreamers, as humans. We
yeah,
always
yeah,
dream,
yeah.
right? But it takes a creator to dream to that level to bring something to life. Yeah.
Now, you've got a couple of different things that you have invented. What was your first one? What did you bring forth to the world first?
The first one was a product called SBO1, which was, I would say, it was the early day smart speaker, if you were to. It was a very little gadget, and again, it was solving a particular problem. This was about 7 years ago. I was still in college, I believe, and I was still working full time in aerospace. And I did this on my own, in my spare time, in my bedroom with my laptop, and I was able to develop the whole product to bring it to life. But it's a speaker that allows you to listen to your music whilst you're in the shower, and also pick up your phone calls. And if someone was calling you, you can, respond to that. And Jeff, interesting story was there was at that time, mobile phone was, big thing, iPhone, and everyone
Hmm.
is taking their phone to the bathroom and listening to their music, and people were dropping it in the toilet,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
were dropping it in the bath. And I thought about it. I said, hang on a minute, why do you have to take your phone to the bathroom just to listen to your music? You are ruining a very expensive gadget. It would be
Yeah.
cool if you can just keep your phone in the bedroom, but access all the music and also keep in touch with your loved ones if someone wants to call you. Hence, I came up with that product, and it did really well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it solved that particular problem. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's a great story. So, talk to us about, you were in aerospace, right? You worked for Rolls Royce, I believe. When did you make the jump or the step to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, the leap of faith, I'll call it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Better stated, leap of faith. Yes.
A hip leap, yes. That was about, I would say, 6 years ago from now. I mean, the point that I decided to do that was I got to a stage after inventing this first product, which is the smart speaker,
Hmm.
and I realized I had a bit of traction. I was able to get global distribution with a company in
Hmm.
England called B&Q, really known in the bathroom accessories, industry. But I wasn't able to do it all. And Jeff, I was still a one-man band at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was picking customer support, sending emails, doing logistics, delivering,
Hmm.
packing, stacking, shrink wrapping in the warehouse. I was doing it all. And then
Yeah.
daytime, I have to go to Haynes International, which is a company I used to work for in the aerospace industry, go there and do my normal aerospace, work. So it was a really tough one. After talking to my advisors, I had a few advisors that were supporting me in terms of the direction of the business. I decided to buy the bullet and give it a shot. I really believed in what I was doing, and I had a very strong passion in it. The risk was I invented every single penny I had
Hmm.
and from my
Yeah.
revenue into it. So it's pretty much, this is it. If you
Yeah.
believe in this, then that's it. And I did it, and I think I made the right decision. Yeah.
I love that you called it being a one-man band, because that ties back to your what you were talking about music. You played all the instruments, so you really were a one-man band for a while there. So as you began to take this step, this leap of faith into the entrepreneurial world, talk to us a little bit about raising money for your endeavors, and how did that go? What was your experience with that?
It wasn't a smooth sailing. I think I had difficulties when I was, trying to raise money, and hence me, investing a lot into the company or working to actually invest my own revenue in it. Uh, I think one of the issues was, as a black tech entrepreneur, I was pitching about a technology that doesn't exist. No one
Hmm.
have heard it before. You know, it was the time that True Wireless Earbud. I mean, I was one of the innovators that came up with True Wireless Earbud. I think it was myself and another brand. We introduced True Wireless Earbud in the world, and
Hmm.
Qualcomm, who is the biggest chip vendor by that time, was not having even a chipset that could do, both left and right in terms of a true wireless. Everyone was
Hmm.
aware of wireless earbud. And on top of that, I was talking about translation, and you're talking about big players in the game with billion-dollar, money that are still trying to develop such technology. So it was very difficult for someone to invest into such a technology because it's huge, and they thought there's no way I could do it.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the challenges, but I turned it around slightly when I was able to show a prototype, and people start to believe that. But
Hmm.
I think the strongest out of all the fundraising process, the bit that have actually helped was my strong passion and believe in what I
Hmm.
was building. That helped a lot because when I presented the prototype, people thought I have raised about 10 million or something like that. But it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was all coming from me. So I said, I did all this on my own from ground up, save all my money, invest, if I have to sell my car, whatever. I did all that to make it work. So people started to realize how
Hmm.
passionate I was about the product and start believing in it and believing in the technology. And I had a few advocates that supported me as well. So together,
Yeah.
my own personal investment, a group of people that believed in my dream, I was able to raise 5 million to put into the company to take it to the next step. Yeah.
Were there challenges associated with this raise because you were a black tech entrepreneur? Did you run into that as you were trying to do this raise?
A bit, I ran into some of them, but I have a different mindset, and that's one thing I always try to advise people on. Race is something I think everyone might experience in their lifetime, but it's the kind of mindset you need to have as an individual to overcome
Hmm.
that, to let you move forward or to enable you to achieve your dreams. I faced that challenge as well. Yeah, you are from ethnic minority. You haven't got any experience. You don't have any team behind you. This is what you
Hmm.
want to build. We don't know if you'll be able to do it or not. But honestly, I was prepared to give it anything, and I really believed in it, and the passion was there. And I think it was
Yeah.
the motivational factor. Yeah. So I do ignore, I would say, any form of racism. I don't allow that to discourage me at all.
Hmm.
If I walk in a room and you know everyone is affected by race, I will be the person that will sort of lock to my brain. It's like I have not even seen it or heard it. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but I think it's a skill I would advise fellow entrepreneurs to try to, embrace. But once you're able to cross that initial barrier, honestly, I think, people will realize that they need to support you. Yeah.
As you're going in to do these fundraisers, I'm not familiar with the international fundraising markets, the venture capital there in the UK. Are you finding that there are more and more minorities represented on the other side of the desk in these venture capital firms that are providing the money?
No, no, no.
Okay.
There is less minority in such industry. And I think maybe that could be one of the issues or the problem.
Hmm.
Um, if we're able to have more minority in such venture capitalist companies, or call it VCs, uh,
Uh-huh.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe, yeah, that will help. Yeah,
Your director of marketing, Nicole, shared a story that I don't know how many times this happened to you, but that your chairman of your board is a white male, and you would walk into meetings with the venture capitalists, and they would shake his hand, not yours, as the founder. Did that happen often?
not often, but as I said before, I'm the type of guy who try to ignore.
Yeah, yeah. As we were doing this series last year, we had many, many people on the show talking about their experiences, and I'm trying to remember now who the guest was, but she was in these meetings, and people were asking her to go get coffee because not only was she a minority, but she was also a female,
Yeah,
and she was like the one in the running the meeting. And I just find that in this day and age, I think we would all be better served if we took that attitude that you're describing
yeah.
and just leave all of that out as we're having these interactions. So I just think that's an interesting story. Your background starts, we talked about music production, and it started in your church, right? Isn't that kind of where you
Absolutely, absolutely right. Yeah, so I used to attend like 5 churches a day.
So you've had this let's call it a hustle mentality. You've been hustling
From day one.
since you were a kid,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
as you've been building this. And so when you look at your company, does your company embody some of those things, some of your traits? Have you been able to bring those into the organization?
Yes, absolutely. We have a very, the culture in CEH is amazing. It's it runs through all the individuals, members of staff, manufacturers. We've created this. Um, uh, I see as a family. You know, it's sort of a transition through the company and through our products as well. And I think that's what it should be really. We believe in what we do, and we go extra mile to create innovative products
Hmm.
to support people. Um, like you said, yeah, I started. It's more like I've been hustling from day one. You know, go to church about. I think it's about 4 or 5 different churches a day. So the way I used to do it is I was hungry for knowledge. I wanted to learn, but I started as a pianist, so that was the only instrument I started with. But within the Christian community or these churches, you you could learn how to play a different instrument from, let's say, the guitar player that you play with.
Hmm.
But in order to do that, you need to sort of visit multiple churches. So you go to one church, play whatever you play. Then you go to the next one, and then you after the ceremony, you'll be able to have a jam session, and then through
Yeah.
that you are able to learn. And I think that's why I got the chance to learn multiple instruments, and I was able to implement it in my music production career because
Hmm.
I I play all the instruments on a track, and then I was able to record a handful of music that did really really well, and that generated some
Hmm.
revenue for me as well to help me with building my money or saving money to invest
Yeah.
into my money. Yeah.
Do you still produce music today, or is that something that's in the past?
From time to time, I do. I mean, I know a lot of musicians that still every now and then call me for a jam session, or if they've got a
Uh-huh.
project they're working on and they want me on that project, to drop me an email. It's a passion. I don't think I can say, okay, that's it, no more music. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will always do that when I get the chance.
Kind of in the blood, right? It's
Exactly,
just something that's part of who you are.
exactly.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about your company today and some of the things that you've seen, some of the things that you have done as a part of your organization in more recent times. You tell a couple of good stories about during the pandemic. So why don't we start there and what you all were able to do during the pandemic?
Yes. Thanks. That's an interesting question. I mean, during the pandemic, I believe every organization endured some level of challenge. With businesses closing, people working from home, production
Hmm.
stopping, manufacturing stopping. We, as a young company, were faced with that sort of challenge. But I really wanted to keep my team on board because we had this strong, I would say, connection and culture within the organization. And as an entrepreneur, I started a side company which is called Medibird, and the main focus was to build up to generate revenue to bridge the gap that we are facing as due to the pandemic for my money.
Hmm.
And that did really really well. We were we supplied millions of gloves. We've sponsored a lot of healthcare organizations, giving them free product to support them, and that generated enough revenue to keep the company going.
Hmm. Were you using some of the same manufacturing locations and equipment to do this, or was this a totally separate organization?
It was totally separate organization, but
Okay.
I had already, based from experience of running CEA technologies and working with manufacturers and the whole logistics, I had a level of experience, so I was
Hmm.
able to apply the same experience I've acquired to Medibed.
Did you have to do a capital raise for that organization, or did you infuse your capital into it?
No, I didn't do any capital raise. Actually, it was just me. So I think I started with was just £1,500, I would say, and I was able
Yeah.
to reinvest. So I started it as just like a normal supplier. Buy and
Yeah.
sell it just to generate enough revenue to pay all bills that need to be paid, and
Yeah.
then I was able to grow it really really well. I wasn't obviously the main focus was just to reinvest, and generate enough revenue to keep us all going. And
Hmm.
it did perfect. And now we have our own factory that is producing, supplying to major companies around the world. We've done over 5 million, product shipments in the past months. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I think that's an incredible part of your story because while you were doing it to help keep your organization going during the pandemic because so many organizations were negatively impacted, you also found a way to give back during that process because of what you were building and or what you were manufacturing rather and distributing. I just think that it says a lot about your personality and who you are.
Thank you.
So you mentioned it when we had our call the other day, Danny. You mentioned Lord Stanley Fink. Now, for our US listeners, they may not know who Lord Stanley Fink is. So, talk to us about who that is and what he has to do with your organization.
Yes, we are really, really excited to have Lord Stanley Fink, as the chairman of the organization. So Lord Stanley used to be in the House of Lords in England, very well known. He's got years in experience in terms of running businesses, taking businesses, to public, growing companies to be multi-billion dollar company. He was really impressed about what I have achieved or what we have achieved at Manu.
Mm-hmm.
Our background, coming from nowhere, we developed a very cool product, very innovative product, solving a particular challenge. He used the product himself, and he was super excited about it. And
Mm-hmm.
having someone like that to join your company, I think that is what everyone will wish for. It's not about,
Yeah.
because it's not about joining. He just loved what we are doing, and he was really passionate about that, and he wanted to do well. So, yeah, Lord Stanley, we believe, he'll be able to manage the board and help us, move to the next level. We also had Ringo Francis, who is also very successful entrepreneur in England, on board as well. So we have two non-executive that we have brought on board as of 2021 to help us, grow the company.
I think it's interesting that you've been able to attract the attention through the success of your company. You've been able to attract the attention of some pretty big people to be involved on your board. When you started the company, did you ever envision that kind of success?
Um, no, I would say not to the board members I have now. When you started business, I believe everyone would say, yes, I want my business to do well. So, yeah, I wanted the company to do well. I dreamt of, have being successful, but not to the level of having, a Lord as your board of chairman, and also having some very successful entrepreneurs that love what
Mm-hmm.
you are doing and want to be part of it. I think it's not common. It's not common to get.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was really, really pleased and very excited to actually have them, and they are doing an amazing work within the organization. I'm learning a lot
Mhm.
from them. They've done it before. They've been there. They know it. You know what I mean? So as far
Yeah.
aside innovation and creating products or technologies that are improving people's lives, when you look at the business side, you need people that have got this kind of knowledge to guide you in the process. And
Yeah.
I think they are the one. Yeah.
I was going to ask you if there is, I'm sure you've learned a lot of things from these people that are on your board. Could you name one thing that just comes to mind immediately? One thing that you've learned having them be part of your organization?
Yes. So one thing that comes into my mind um, is being patient and listening to the public. So listening is very vital. That's something that they always talk about. So as an innovator or inventor or as an engineer, we can come up with a lot of crazy ideas and a lot, but you need to make sure that you are not developing it for yourself. You are developing it to support an individual. So you
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
listen to them and then implement their feedback into your products or into your thinking. And that's one thing I've learned from them a lot. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, listening to the feedback, from our users and then implementing it and improving on our product.
I love that because yes, you are developing products to improve people's lives, yet you're maniacally focused, if you will, to use that phrase, on the customer. And to learn that from people like Lord Stanley and Ringo, to have that wisdom to be able to learn from has just got to be a great experience for you.
Yes, yeah, and aside that, normal advice, like I said before, the culture we have in the company is not. We have the normal business, norms, but we also have this family, or I would say, yeah, we have this, family culture within the company as well. So I can pick up a phone and if I'm having any difficulties, call Ringo or call Stanley, and they're able to give me personal advice as well, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you'll be able to get this kind of thing in any organization. And I think we are really fortunate to have them because it's, they're not just non-executive or people that have done it before with great experience and trying to grow the company, but they also share
Yeah.
feedback and insight and support us and advise us as well.
I think your story of that you through your life have developed this sense of empowerment, this sense of exploration through your creativity, and have built this organization and have now brought in so many more people to help you build it. I can't wait to see where you're going to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as you continue to build out your organization. Do you have any things on the horizon that you can give us an idea about your next idea without giving away too much?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have something really, really exciting coming up in this January at CES in Las Vegas that I'm really, really excited about. We're really lucky to work with some, big players to make it happen, and we've spent the past 3 years developing this product. So honestly, I think it's going to be a game changer, and yeah,
Awesome.
I can't
Awesome.
wait.
Well, we may have you back on the program after CES so you can tell us about it because I'm sure you got to keep it under wraps right now.
Absolutely, yes. I can't wait to share it with with the world. It's really exciting project. Addressing a particular challenge, and
Hmm.
again, it's a game changer. When Steve Jobs announced the iPhone for the first time, right? It was like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
wow, this is like a game changer, and now we have iPhones.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
look at it that way.
Okay. Well, now I'm excited. I can't wait. Well, Danny, I just love your story so much, and I am so glad that Nicole connected us because I've just enjoyed getting to know you, and I know our audience is going to enjoy hearing your story. As we talked about, Status Go is all about action. We like to leave our listeners with a real clear call to action. So, for our listeners out there, what are one or two things, one or two pieces of advice that you could give them that they can go do tomorrow because they listened to our conversation today?
The one thing I would say is whatever they are doing, any entrepreneur journey, they are embarking on, passion should be number one. You should have a very strong passion about it. You shouldn't think about money from the start. If you believe in the dream, you believe you're solving a particular challenge or problem to improve people's life or whatever you want to change, I would say you should have passion about it. You should love it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that love today, ask yourself, do you really love this? If you don't love it, then you shouldn't do it. That would be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
Yeah.
love it and you believe you can, you know, sacrifice whatever to make that dream come true, follow it. It will never be in vain. All the hard work will pay off. It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
Yeah. That is fantastic advice. And I would say, even if you don't have that entrepreneurial spirit, having a passion about what you do just makes it so much better. You're so much more engaged, so much more rewarded when you have passion for what you do. So,
Absolutely.
Danny, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us from the UK. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to talking to you again after CES. So, thank you, Danny.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
For our listeners, if you have a question or want to learn more, visit intervision.com. The show notes will provide links and contact information. This is Jeff Tunn for Danny Manu. Thank you very much for listening.
You've been listening to the Status Go podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes or get more information at intervision.com. If you'd like to contribute to the conversation, find Intervision on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Thank you for listening. Until next time.